Well, how about that? So it looks like ever since the original next generation Xbox leak, there's more and more people coming out with even more information about that next generation Xbox console. So yes, it looks like this new console is real, and yes, it looks like it's coming earlier than we all expected. Let's look into this. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video I would like to talk about next generation Xbox some more. And I know that there's been quite a lot of leaks and rumors about PlayStation 5 Pro. Yes, it looks like this console is real. Yes, it looks like it's coming out next year. There's been plenty of leaks about potential specs of that console, but that's still an upgrade. While today I want to focus on next gen Xbox, right? Like a proper, well, not upgrade, yes, proper upgrade on all fronts, not just GPU. And this information that I want to talk about today is actually quite interesting because that's yet another insider that talks about that next gen Xbox already, I know. But the funny part about this particular leak is that he claims that this next-gen console is actually coming way earlier than we all expected. Now, this information is a courtesy of Jeff Grubb. I'm sure you heard about him. He got quite a lot of things right, some things wrong, but what I'm actually trying to show you guys today is that there's like a lot of people right now in the know that talks about this console already, but there's actually more to the story. Okay, so first off, let's start at the very beginning. So I guess the first time at least I heard about next gen Xbox coming out a little bit earlier than we expected, and I guess the common expectation for last couple of months have been 2028, 2029 after the FTC trial, where a lot of documents leaked where Microsoft spoke about PlayStation 6 being planned for 2028, 2029. So I guess everyone expected that Xbox is planning to release their new console around the same time, right? That was, I guess, healthy expectation, but looks like that's not really going to happen. Looks like Xbox is planning to release that console a little bit earlier, even though there was a big leak, well, 2 months ago, where they basically said that, yes, we're actually planning a next-gen Xbox in 2028 too, but we're talking about these PDF files that leaked, and they were a year old back then. Later, Phil Spencer did say that some things have changed, and looks like that actually is the case. Okay, so first time I heard about that next-gen Xbox coming out a little bit earlier, that was Paul of Red Gaming Tech, and I remember him talking about that topic well, quite a few times. And that was way before that big leak that happened in September. So I guess everyone kind of assumed after that he was just wrong, right? But funny enough, and I made a video about it yesterday, Kepler L2, he's another source, and he's actually a very reliable source. When that big FTC leak happened with all these dates and plans for Xbox refresh, Kepler L2 said on Twitter, you can check it out, that looks like, he doesn't see that new console being created, and he mentioned, he was referring to that Xbox Series X refresh, that cylindric kind of optical drive less console. He said there's no evidence of that console being created right now, and he's a well-known data miner. He knows when something is being created when it comes to chips, because chips needs to be tested, and that information is usually in a number of databases. He's got access to that information. he does have information on PlayStation 5 Pro, some information, right? Because he does see this data in the databases out there. So he was really the first one to suggest that, hey, maybe some plans have changed, right? And he suggested that, that refresh is not happening, or potentially is not happening. On top of that, also 2 months ago, he mentioned that he got some info that Xbox Next is coming a little bit earlier than 2028, right? So that was yesterday. I mean, he said that 2 months ago. I've reported on that yesterday because, a number of people found his tweets. For whatever reason, these tweets kind of were not, I guess, nobody actually spotted these tweets back then. I guess everyone was so super excited about all the information that leaked that, I guess, people mostly missed it. And now, I guess yesterday or today, depending on where you watch it, Jeff Grubb on his podcast, he did say that he's got some information on Xbox Next, as he called it, and he said he's got another source telling him that basically, yes, next gen Xbox is probably coming out in 2026, so not 2028. And he wasn't able to say whether that's going to be a proper next gen Xbox. That's why he called it Xbox Next, or maybe it's just a pro version. But like, I believe that if we're talking about an Xbox that is coming out in 2026, late 2026 most likely, we are looking at next gen Xbox, and that kind of makes sense. Also, he did mention, Jeff Grubb, he did mention that his insider is telling him that Xbox refresh that was planned for next year has been cancelled. So they don't, and one of the reasons is that they want to focus on that new Xbox for 2026. So they're not going to be making any kind of effort to redesign the Xbox Series X anymore, right? I'm not sure if I would imagine that they could still kind of produce an Xbox on like 6 nanometers or something, but they can do just PlayStation 5. They can do it PlayStation 5 way without actually telling anyone, just like a new model in the same shape, same everything, basically, just cheaper, right? So that's probably going to happen anyway. But that's not really a new model per se, right? I'm actually curious now whether they are still planning to make changes to the Xbox controller. I'm not sure if you remember, but part of that leak was these haptic feedback and everything that the PlayStation 5 controller kind of features in Xbox controller. So I'm just wondering now if that's going to happen actually. But either way, this is yet another person, quite reliable, quite known for leaking information, that is talking about that next gen Xbox. And I already had some conversations on Twitter about this topic with few people, and some people like the idea, while others not really. But I understand that why people, because some people say, oh, it makes no sense. Why should they shorten this generation? It makes no sense. It's not about the console, it's about the games. And I get it, right? But with each new generation, there's like a fresh start, right? It's like everything, it's like, okay. And I guess it makes sense for Microsoft now to make that new fresh start a little bit earlier, because they've pretty much got everything set up to have a very good generation, right? I'm not saying that this generation is going to be bad, because if you look at all the games that are coming and all the deals and everything, Activision Blizzard on Microsoft, under Microsoft umbrella, and all these games, like, this generation is going to be, pretty good anyway, right? But when it comes to becoming, I guess, a market leader or whatever on many levels, not just console sales, I guess, it will make sense. And I guess they just decided that, you know what, that there's hardly, or maybe, I mean, there is a reason to make a Xbox Series X Pro, you know, but I guess, like, you know, 2 years later, they can provide you with a proper upgrade, right? And I guess Xbox Series X is actually a quite capable console anyway, right? Another reason why they would want to shorten this generation a little bit is that, well, Xbox Series S exists, right? And I'm not saying that Xbox Series S is a bad console, right? But what I'm trying to say is that adding another console, as in Pro console, to the family of consoles for developers to support, I mean, that could probably would actually make developers to cry even more. I mean, they are already, some of these developers are crying about Xbox Series X support anyway. And I get it. It's just yet another box to support and stuff, right? I guess it's a bit different with Pro versions, because I guess the, you know, PlayStation 5 is a base model, which is very capable console, and then they will have Pro on top of that, but they don't even necessarily have to make much effort, because, like, game engines these days are quite scalable, so, you know, they've got performance modes there already, so they would just run better. GPU wise, you've got a resolution scaling in place, so most games will just look better automatically, because game engines will be able to take advantage of that extra power, and they will just run these games at much higher resolutions. Yes, there still needs to be some sort of testing and that kind of stuff, and yes, if developers will want to take full advantage of that PlayStation 5 Pro console, they will have to really spend more time on it, but that's probably going to be done by first-party developers. So I guess Pro models have more sense, but with Xbox Series S and X on the market right now, adding another console for developers to support would probably not go too well, right? And I remember like Digital Foundry actually spoke about it a couple of times as well, when they interviewed one of the main engineers of the Xbox Series consoles. He did tell them that, well, you could treat Xbox Series S and X as a standard and Pro model already, just like they released these two consoles simultaneously. So in that sense, I'm not sure if that was actually a right decision, right? I mean, yeah, having Xbox Series X, a cheaper model at the very beginning of the generation, kind of made sense, and a lot of people bought it, but I'm not necessarily sure if people are really that keen on buying Xbox Series S right now, and you can see it by sales numbers and best-selling products on internet like Amazon and stuff. Like, you see PlayStation 5 there, you see Xbox Series X there, but Xbox Series S, not really. It's not as popular right now. I mean, people just want better versions of games. I guess people are more aware of the power and stuff, you know, probably. But anyway, guys, like I said, this is yet another bit of information, kind of suggesting, I don't want to say confirming, but suggesting that Xbox is working on a next-gen Xbox already, and they will skip the Pro model this generation. They will probably skip a proper Xbox Series X Slim or refresh, however you want to call it, and they will just focus on that. You know, looks like they want to be at least 2 years before PlayStation 6 on the market. That would give them a little bit of advantage. That would not give them a power advantage, really, you know, looking at the generations, because if they release their console earlier, and PlayStation will still have PlayStation 5 Pro on the market, which will do just fine with a lot of games anyway, and all that power. But you know, we will, and I'm actually super excited about it, because that means that we will be getting new consoles more often, which I personally like. I did enjoy these, you know, old times, retro times where we would get some new machines on the market every 2-3 years. I'm not saying from one particular producer, but we would get Dreamcast in 1999, then a year later PlayStation 2 came out, and Nintendo GameCube was a year later. Then we got Xbox, original Xbox, like in 2001-2. So in a span of 3-4 years, we had like 4 consoles, right? Making these kind of times very interesting. While right now it's like you've got very similar consoles launching at the very same time. It's kind of boring, really, right? So anyway, guys, like, interesting times ahead of us, that's for sure. And not only from, technical perspective, but also gameplay perspective. And now AI is coming in play too. Sony seems to be interested in putting some neural processing units in PlayStation 5 Pro 2. So yeah, things are getting interesting, that's for sure. So anyway, guys, that's the information. Like I said, all that info you will find, or the latest info you will find in the link in the description below, so you can check it yourself as well. Let me know what you think about it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care.